That's a game changer for e-commerce brand owners. So you must know your margins, except for the overall profit margin that you've got for the whole business. From the ads perspective, it is important to know how much you're able to pay for every single product and still be profitable. Obviously, 80-20 rules apply here, so probably 20% of your products generate 80% of the revenue. However, we need to know how much area we have for maneuver, how much discounts we can apply eventually, and how much we can spend for every single product and still be profitable. So you need to know these numbers for preferably, ideally, every single product. Obviously, if you have like thousands of products, that will be a little more difficult. So in that case, I would recommend to do it per category, or per category probably would be the best way to move forward here. So let me show you an example of how to do it. First thing that we will do, we will have to jump to your merchant center as a data source for all our products. Okay, so once you are in your merchant center, the only thing we want to do, we want to export all products. So we have a list of every single product that we are going to promote. Now, you don't need to necessarily use merchant center. If you have any other product data source, maybe you are using Data Feedwatch or any other third-party software, that will do the job as well. You can export them directly from Google Ads as well. So if you are using Merchant Center, as I do right here, you just jump to products under products and store section. Once the list is open, you can even include products that are not approved right now, because probably you're gonna work on it and get them approved in the future. And now you just click on download products, and you want to open that file, preferably, ideally, in a Google Sheets or eventually Excel, whatever you prefer. Well, so once we have the list exported, you're gonna see many metrics, every single product attribute, which will look like this one. Now what we want to do, we want to narrow it down. We just need title, product ID, price, and everything else we'll calculate on our own. To protect this customer data, let me use sample products and show you what we need to do. What you are going to do with that list, just go here and click on delete columns. The only metrics you want to have left is title, ID, price, and eventually link to the product, so we know which product it is. Everything else must be removed. Okay, so I cleaned our list a little bit. As you can see, the titles are some product 1, product 2, and links is just Amazon for the sake of privacy regulations. Now let's make it look a little more tidy. So first thing that you do, you want to format all the numbers just so they look easy to read, and so you can create proper tables out of it as well to make it easy for yourself. So I like to change headlines, just to keep everything clean for myself. And then the prices we've done, ID, okay, we need to change those. So now what we need to know is how much each product actually cost us. So that's something what we need to cost of goods sold, and that's something what we need to get from the backend. Let me put some random numbers here in a sec. But why we do that? We do it because we want to calculate what our profit is. So then we have profit, and then from profit we can calculate a few more metrics like margin, break even ROAS. We also need conversion rate, break even CPC. Okay, perfect. So that one is the key part. Let's make it green. Without it, we won't be able to calculate anything else. Let me fill up the fields. For this, I need to put formulas in. However, profit obviously super simple. Let's assume that this product 1 is costing us 1500. Let's just make sure that the formatting is the same. And now the profit is, the formula here would be price minus cost of goods, and that would be our profit basically. So now you already can see, like, I need to fill up this one, but you can see what the profit would be for this one. Then you can calculate everything else, which let me get the formula for every single one, but I need to start with filling up. Obviously we could just multiply margin. Let's say that the whole store has a margin of 25%. We could just do 0.25 and multiply that by price to get the idea of how much the cost of goods sold is. However, in our case, as probably every store has, the margin will be different for every single product. So the whole point is to show that we want to leverage products which have higher margins a little more, simply to get us more profit. All right, I've just finished filling up the cost of goods sold metric. Again, it's totally out of the blue. I just put some random numbers here. However, what I wanted to show you is that when you look only at ROAS in Google Ads, for example, the picture might be a little misleading because you can see we got 20 products in that example, and you can see the profit is different for every single product. So even though the actual price, like this one is 2,000 and that one is 2,100, the profit is so the margin for these products is different, and that's the key difference that we want to leverage here. Alright, and now from this point we can calculate everything else. So I have a little notes here on the side, so that's an easy one. Profit divided by price, and you can see what the margin for those. So percentages are different, and now to make the numbers look easier to read, let's do it this way. Okay, so break even ROAS is basically what we need to get to 25% of the original price, so 4 times, it gives us 100%. So yeah, that would be price divided by profit. For ROAS, yes, that makes sense, because imagine if you spend $1, you get 4, so it means that if you spend $500 and you get 2,000, it means you are flat. So that's what we need to be flat. As you can see, for some of them it's pretty high. Now the conversion rate, that's one of the KPIs that we do not calculate. We need to take it from the site. So let's take like an average, let's say 2.5%, just for the sake of this video. Now break even CPC times conversion rate. Does it? Okay, so how do we test it? So basically that means that if our CPC is not more expensive than $13, we should be flat, right? So let's say we have spent $2,000 divided by our break even CPC. That's the number of clicks we should get, right? So these are clicks. Now from these clicks, we know that our conversion rate is 2.5%, right? So we should get how many orders? 4. Okay, so we're gonna get 4 orders. Every single one, the profit from those would be 2K. Basically that CPC is to get us to the break-even point. So no profit at all. If it's cheaper, better. If not, and now what you can do it this way, that you will get an average of those, of what the CPC should be, right? Here you can put total. And now cost of goods sold, prices, profit formula. Yep, perfect. Break-even ROAS, so we know more or less where we should be. Okay, so the margin for these 20 products is around 21%. Break-even ROAS, okay, that one is a bit inaccurate because we can see there are huge discrepancies. Like 41 here, alright, I didn't pick those numbers very wisely. However, even in your e-commerce stores, sometimes you have accessories that may have such a high break-even ROAS. These are the numbers. Now, what do we do with those numbers? We adjust our campaigns and our targeting based on these KPIs. So you can group them based on where you can afford yourself to spend a little more or a little less. I broke it. Let's exclude total from our calculations. And you can structure your campaigns in a way that you leverage these higher margin products a little more. Obviously, in a real world, in a real life example, probably it would work this way, that out of these 20 products, probably we have 5 that generate most of the conversions. So now maybe you need to have a look which one of those has a better margin, right? Like in our example, I would probably try to push these products a little more simply because they leave us with more profit compared to others. Maybe not really profit, but ROAS wise, right? They need to be close to each other so you can set similar targets. Now, a little trick, not a trick, but side information is that there are softwares, there are brands that will help you target products, optimize algorithm based on profit per conversion rather than pure price, right? Because the default option in Google Ads is to set up targeting based on prices, and that's how the ROAS is calculated, which is sometimes misleading because, as you can see in that example, the actual profit may be very different. And now another thing to look at is that even though ROAS for some of them is, the break-even ROAS is a bit higher, the actual profit is way different. Like that product is $600 where this one is $150 and the break-even ROAS is way lower. Yeah, you need to leverage those information and have that picture in your mind always, and that makes account management way easier. You need to know the fundamentals. Everyone says fundamentals, but what are the fundamentals? This is one of those. You need to know how much you can spend, how much you can invest into every single product and still be profitable, and this way you can structure your account smarter. Hope that helps. If you like the videos, stay with us on the channel, give us a like or subscribe button, and see you in the next video.